This episode is brought to you by Honda. When you test drive the new Prologue EV, there's a lot that could impress you about it. There's the class-leading passenger space, the clean, thoughtful design, and the intuitive technology. But out of everything, what you'll really love most is that it's a Honda. Visit honda.com/EV to see offers.
Kroger Delivery has one mission: to deliver the freshest food right to your door. That's why our drivers are pros. Our trucks are refrigerated. And when it comes to low prices, we always deliver. With $20 off your first order of $75 or more, there's no better time to get in on the action. Mission accomplished. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Live from the TCL broadcast studios, it's Joe Souchere and Patrick Royce with Sports Talk.
Just looking to see where the boys play today.
Well, I think the game is still in progress as Patrick is monitoring for the Sports Talk
You got
broadcast.
Baltimore at home today.
Yes, and a pretty good crowd. I'm surprised. I guess it's March. There's a nice crowd here today. Not that many Baltimore fans. Usually the only place at times this full is when you get a lot of visiting fans. But the Minnesotans are down and they filled it up. So.
Where do the Orioles train?
Sarasota.
Oh, okay.
Sarasota has had a long history of various teams. They had the Red Sox way back in the day. Ted Williams, that's where he did his spring training. And then they had the White Sox. They had Cincinnati for a long time. Then they had the White Sox, and I think they were without it for maybe a year or so. They let the facility get old and dumpy, and then now they have the Orioles. The Orioles, have been the orphans of Florida. They were in Miami playing in that Bobby Maduro Stadium, that old place in Little Havana where where down by the Orange Bowl.
Yeah.
They were in Fort Lauderdale after the Yankees left for Tampa, and they finally found a home in Sarasota. So.
Who's winning the game?
It's kind of a heartbreaker. Our Fighting Twins had a 3-0 and then a 4-1 lead, and now they're behind 7-5. Trevor Hildenberger got hammered again. I don't think he's going to make it. He's been bad this spring. Taylor Rogers, who was the lefty, he'll be on the team, but he hasn't been real good this spring. So they gave up some long balls, and they now trail 7-5. But we might have had the greatest debut by a Minnesota athlete since Herschel Walker kicked off his shoe at the Metrodome. Lance Lynn does a 10:30 press conference. He's on the hill at 1 o'clock. First pitch, 94 miles an hour. Goes 3 innings, 5 scoreless, no hits, 5 strikeouts, 1 walk.
You know what he says? Let's go.
Let's go. And you know what else he says? Pitchers and catchers and reporters reporting date is nonsense. You don't have to be here on February 15th. You can show up a month later, and if you're in shape, throw your fastball. I don't know how many pitches. He said he was going to throw 50. I didn't look to see if he made it to 50 or not. He might have got him out before that.
Is he a right-hander?
Yep. Mm-hmm. He's a right-hander. He's a grumpy right-hander. And
what's he got to be grumpy about?
Well,
he works at the Krabby Coffee Shop during the offseason.
That's just his nature. It's not, he's not that he's mad at anybody. He's just a grumpy guy. There's grumpy guys out there, and he pretty well admits that he is one of those. And, of course, as I pointed out to Derek Falvey, the last time these guys got a grumpy right-hander on a 1-year contract who was wanted a multi-year contract and didn't get one, they won the World Series. So
who was that grumpy? Jack Morris.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Jack's one of the grumpiest guys ever.
He's grumpy.
He's grumpy. So this might work out. But I like this guy a lot. I think it was he had Tommy John. He missed 2016. He was pretty good last year, but he could be back at his best. He had Reavers, as a Cardinal fan, knows this. Boy, he had 2 phenomenal years back to back in 13 and 14.
Mm-hmm.
In fact,
over 200 innings. The second year, he was a 2.74 ERA.
In fact, I think the World Series game I attended, I believe he started against the Red Sox for the Birds.
Yeah, he. What I like about him is he throws about, I don't know, he was through in the 40s pitches, I would say. He might have thrown 2 breaking balls. He throws fastballs. He throws them all over the strike zone, and he's got a sinker, but he just basically throws fastballs and says, let's go here. Come on.
Who's the backup catcher, Bobby Wilson?
No, it's going to be Mitch Garver, but yes, Bobby Wilson is the guy who hit the home run.
He won out the other day.
And that is the guy I've been telling you.
Yeah.
That is what a catcher is supposed to look like.
Right.
A little block of kind of soft granite. A little block. He is a character, too. He will probably go to Rochester, and if Garver or Castro gets hurt, he'd probably be the guy they ended up calling up.
He's built like a guard.
Yes, he is and he's a character too. He's just a talker. As I told you, I told Reavers and Manny this a few days ago. But the second day I was in the clubhouse here, there were 5 of us sitting around talking. He just came over, didn't know any of us, and started giving us all a hard time about life in general. Giving us bleep, as you say. So
yeah, well, that's all right.
Oh yeah, he's a good clubhouse guy. Yeah. So,
what inning are you in?
Well, if the Twins went out in the bottom of the 8th, then it's the 9th. So
they do take a while to play in the spring, don't they?
Yeah, and the first 3 innings were flying right along, and then the Twins didn't pitch too well. So,
Pat, last night,
Buck is crazy though. He changes pitchers in the middle of the inning. He tries to win these games, or at least he's testing regular season situations. So anyway.
I was going to say last night, Patrick, the MLB Network picked up the Twins game. They had it on delayed a little bit, but Hughes looked okay.
Yeah, I talked to him today. He felt pretty good. He's trying to learn to be a junk baller. It's not easy when you've spent your whole life pitching like Lance Lynn with 90% fastballs. But
is he in danger of being cut?
Joe, they owe him $26 million.
Well, then he's not in danger of being cut.
He's in the kind of danger we'd all like to be in.
Right. He's going to land on his feet no matter what.
He can either work for it or go home and not work for it, depending on what they want to do. But yeah, he'll be in the team, but I don't think he'll be in the bullpen to start the season.
Joe, we'll put it this way. What Pat's trying to get at is if the Twins cut him, he'll be the highest paid, dedicated Tampa Bay Lightning fan in the stands. He'll be at every game.
That's right. Yeah, he'll buy a suite.
Every game home and away.
He'll be there for the whole playoff run if they go all the way to the top.
Is he a Tampa Bay Lightning guy?
Yeah, when he was a kid pitcher for the Yankees, their facility is, the Yankees are right there next to the hockey arena.
Yeah.
He wasn't really a hockey guy, but he started going to hockey games, and now he's Mr. Lightning. I told you 2 weeks ago, Linneman flew down on the weekend with one of these goal lamps that Budweiser has up in Canada.
Okay.
You get a goal lamp. And
it's like a mobile one that the light flips on.
And you hook a wireless thing up to it, and when your team scores anywhere in North America, the thing goes off.
Oh.
Yeah. And he's got the Gretzky model, which is the one that they only made 125 of them. And Goofy Linneman, who's a friend of Hughes, got him one, so he flew it down to deliver it. So now Hughes' house out here he's got a place in Paseo, a house, and the Lightning score at 2:00 in the morning in Vancouver. It goes off at his house.
That is cool. I did not know that existed.
Yeah, they have those. And,
you can get them.
Quite a promotion by Budweiser.
Yeah.
I'd say that. Yeah.
Bring it back.
Yeah, you can probably get them in the States. I don't know. This was a Canadian version, though. I don't know what it was.
I have not heard of such a thing. I think that's fascinating.
He got me for $50 today too to get into his pool.
Ooh, Hughesy?
NCAA pool. Yeah, you just get a
mythical.
Team.
Yeah, of course.
You just get a team. That's the way. This is the one that Puck used to run.
You get one team?
Yeah, you draw one. You pay $50. You draw one.
Who'd you draw?
No, I don't know yet. But I don't know. Back in the day, Puck ran it down in the corner. And Puck, if Duke was a favorite and you got Duke, and Puck would give you like $300-400 for Duke.
Really?
$150. By the time it was done, Puck had more invested than he could actually win. But he'd buy like 15 teams to have a chance. And of course, it was hilarious if one of those 15 didn't win, and then he ended up spending like $6,000 to try to win 3,200, and then he didn't win. It was great. But Puck ran it for years.
It'd be a good time for you to tell our listeners about our pool, Rook.
We do. If you go to 1500ESPN.com, we have a whole bunch of fantastic prizes for you, but you've got to sign up. This isn't where you're passing around the pool. You have an actual online sign up. It's the Bracket Challenge. The grand prize winner takes home a Napoleon LEX propane grill, courtesy of Patio Town. Runner up, this is hardly a second place prize, 55-inch TCL Roku TV. And then each winners of each round, a $50 Crave gift card.
And we don't have to pick the play-in games, right? We don't have to pick until Thursday, right? You don't have to.
That's correct. Until 11 a.m. Thursday, 1500ESPN.com.
And my advice is don't fill out your bracket until 5:40 today, when Brandon Lang will appear on the Ride with Ricey straight from Las Vegas to give us insights that I can assure you Brandon is very confident in. So
got it.
The great Brandon Lang, and you can find out who he is by going to BrandonLang.com.
All right. See, I heard your talk with Hollis Cavner.
Yes.
Their television ratings were incredible, weren't they?
Yes, they were. It was unbelievable. It's amazing the magic he brings. And I think he brings more than ever now because, as Hollis was saying, it's a comeback story. We like him better now because it's a comeback story instead of, damn, I get sick of seeing him win all the time, which is not my attitude, but a lot of people had that attitude.
Does Cavner think he'll win again?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he did. Well, God, he said, as he said, if he would have made a putt until a 43-footer on 17, he would have won easy on Sunday. So he hit the ball great. So, yeah, I'm sure. I think everybody, after watching him the last couple of weeks, thinks he's, hell, if Phil can win again, he sure can win again.
Well, and the Casey victory was very significant, and he's not even mentioned. Tiger Woods finished second.
You know what it reminded me of? June 26, 1977, Met Stadium, biggest regular season crowd they'd had there. Glenn Adams knocked in 8 runs that day, and Rodney went 4 for 5 and went up to 406, and 20 people were talking to Rodney after the game, and Glenn Adams was sitting over there with 8 RBIs, and nobody even knew he was there.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, that was kind of like that. Hey, we should mention Kirk Cousins is setting a precedent that all NFLers should look for, a fully guaranteed contract with the Vikings. To get him to sign here, they had to guarantee $28 million a year for the next 3 years, and they can't wiggle out of it. Apparently,
that's amazing.
And then I haven't heard this officially, but I believe they also must be giving up the right to put a franchise tag on him after 3 years. I'm sure he wouldn't come here because he fought against the franchise tag in Washington. And they kept putting the franchise tag on him. I would guess that part of it, you can put a clause in the contract that a team can't franchise you. And in order to beat the competition, I'm sure the Vikings had to do that. But unbelievable. A lot of revenge games out there. Bradford to Arizona, Keenum to Denver, and Teddy to the Jets. They're going to have 3 starting quarterbacks in the league next year.
And don't think, though, the NFL in the future will miss out on that scheduling.
So in game 1, Cousins breaks his leg. Then what do you do?
Well, then you whoever you drafted in the 5th round, or this kid that they had on the roster last, Kyle Slaughter or something like that. I never heard of him. Yeah, you'd be in. They'll probably. Well, no, I don't know what they'll do. I don't think any veteran will come in here when you know this guy's going to be the quarterback for 3 years. So I don't know. I suppose they just have to have some kid. They'll do what they'll do what the Green Bay Packers did last year, suffer, because when their quarterback got hurt. So,
but the NFL prides itself in non-guaranteed contracts.
Oh my God, it is hilarious seeing these. Like, there's some receiver that just signed Richardson, guy named Richardson. Where was it? Reavers, Washington, right? $40 million.
Yep.
He won't see half of that. First, they'll pay him the first year. He can go out and catch 80 passes, and they'll bring him in the second year and say, we can't give you all. The Vikings are going to do that to this poor Latavius Murray, who had a hell of a game. He was very good last year, but they're paying him a lousy $5 million, and they're going to make him either take a big cut or cut him loose, because that's the way she works. They're even if you're good, they try to steal your money back if they think they have any power over you. So.
Well, more power to Kirk Cousins then.
For $84 million. Mm-hmm. And this isn't even his big one. The reason he's coming here because he sees this defense, he thinks there's a real good chance to win. But he'll be 30 years old when he plays his first game here. He'll be a free agent at age 32 going into his 33 year. So he can get another big hit. He can play here 3 years, and then either the Vikings have to give him a even larger contract, or he'll be out on the market again. And you can come here, try to win a Super Bowl, and then go someplace else and get the $200 million.
Well, that makes him the highest paid quarterback in the league. What's that do to Brady and Favre?
Well, it does for a year, but not the whole package is not the biggest. But the 84 is the highest. The $28 million for a season is the highest paid. I don't know, Roger. I guess the Packers and Rodgers are talking again, but those guys are already signed up. Breeze got 2 years, $50 million, something like that. So he got $25 million a year,
guaranteed.
Yeah. No, I don't think they said $40 million guaranteed. 40 out of the 50 guaranteed. But he's 40 years old. 39 years old. So, what's the mystery to me is how Arizona can guarantee Sam Bradford $15 million and not know if he can play or not.
Yeah, there's just no record.
Well, he didn't play last year. He couldn't play. Last year he had the bad knee. He couldn't play after they started him the first game, and he played one more. So, and it's a chronic thing. How do they? I've always been suspicious though about him, and I don't know him well enough, but I've always been suspicious that the Vikings would not negotiate with him. The contract was up at the end of the year, and they would not give him an extension. I've always wondered if he said, "Well, I got pain in the knee. I'm not going to play and ruin any chance I have for another contract if you guys aren't going to give me some kind of a deal." So I've always been, but I wouldn't. That's just speculation. But that's what we do. We speculate.
How are the Twins on the injury front?
Eddie Rosario has a sore triceps and hasn't been able to throw. He had a little setback, and he hasn't DH'd yet. I don't know why he's not DHing. And Morrison's playing. He only missed a little time. And I saw Adrianza played again today. He'd been banged up a little bit. They're in pretty good shape. Eddie is the only guy I think they're worried about.
Sports Talk will return in just a moment, but now thanks to our great friends in Owatonna, Minnesota at Federated Insurance, where it's their business to protect your business, and nobody does that better than Federated. It's Bruce Vail from the Wall Street Journal and Your Money Now.
Well, no good news today. Stocks were lower at the market close, and the declines accelerated late in the trading session. The Dow Jones Industrial Average ended up dropping 171 points, closing at 25,007. The Nasdaq Composite fell 77 points, and the S&P 500 lost 17. A panel that advises the White House on cancer policy said urgent action is needed to curb a dramatic rise in the price of cancer drugs, which can cost more than $100,000 a year per patient. The panel broadly recommended that drug companies should be paid based on the value of their drugs to patients, but it didn't lay out any concrete actions for policymakers to take. In his State of the Union address, President Trump described the lowering of drug prices as one of his greatest priorities. Doritos Locos Tacos have been dethroned as the most successful new product at Taco Bell. They've been knocked from that position by the new nacho fries. Taco Bell says it has sold 53 million orders of the limited time item in the 5 weeks they've been on the menu. I'm Bruce Vail with your Money Now on 1500 ESPN.
Thank you, Bruce. We'll talk again tomorrow. We'll check traffic here, sponsored by Indeed. We'll go over to the St. Louis side, where a motorcycle went down, southbound 35E at Kellogg. No injuries there, but that bike got totaled. You're going to see delays through the Capitol interchange on southbound 35E as you approach that crash. They're still loading it up there. And then over in Bloomington, southbound 35W slowing just past 494. That's due to a crash down around 106th Street. Are you hiring? With Indeed, you can post a job in minutes, set up screener questions, then zero in on qualified candidates in an online dashboard. Get started at Indeed.com/hire.
Here's John Haidt in the newsroom.
Thank you, Joe. It's sunny and 35 degrees. It is Vikings quarterback carousel day.
Yes, it is, John.
Kirk Cousins going to be signing with the Vikings apparently 3 years, $84 million. Now, the Vikings quarterbacks from last year, Case Keenum, will be signing with the Denver Broncos. Teddy Bridgewater, according to various reports, close to finalizing a deal with the Jets. And Sam Bradford signing with Arizona, 1 year, $20 million, $15 million guaranteed. Also an option apparently for a second year at $20 million for Bradford.
Johnny, would you now agree that the Vikings have the best quarterback in the NFC North?
I would disagree vehemently.
Okay, I thought you might.
Speaking of that team,
I better tweet that out. Don't you think I should tweet that out?
Oh God, yes, I think you should. Yes.
My current ratings of who's the Bears quarterback? Oh, Trubisky.
Yeah. Stafford, Rodgers. Yeah. Speaking of the Packers, apparently they're signing tight end Jimmy Graham, and this one I just saw on the way in. They are releasing wide receiver Jordy Nelson.
No.
Really? Oh, man.
That's your guy, Joe.
I think Jordy's my guy.
I love Jordy.
Jordy is also Aaron's guy. So.
Yes. Why are they releasing him?
Because they're paying him a load of money.
Well, so what? He's good.
They wanted Jimmy Graham. Well, they got all kinds of receivers. They do. How about Cobb? They're going to get rid of him too. Randall Cobb, maybe.
When Jordy's healthy, though, boy, he's awfully good.
He didn't but when he came back last year, he did not do much.
No, he didn't. Twins and Orioles today. The Twins lose 7-5, but the headline there, of course, Lance Lynn, fresh off the playground, I guess, huh? Started for the Twins, 3 innings, no hits, 5 strikeouts for Minnesota. News notes from today, a state official who led Minnesota's troubled computer system for vehicle licensing has been fired. The $93 million system has been plagued.
Rex Tillerson? No, that wasn't him. That was somebody else.
$93 million system has been plagued by problems since it went online last summer. Additionally, the Department of Public Safety is asking for another $43 million to fix those problems, including backlogs that have frustrated drivers. The department's chief business technology officer, Paul Meekin, has been terminated 4 months after he was placed on leave. Meekin, he says the success of a government project is never just one person's responsibility. He says it's a disservice to Minnesotans who give the impression that putting a head on a spike will fix the problems. The Senate panel yesterday approved a measure providing $7.3 million to help fix MnLARs.
Has anyone beside me tried to get an enhanced driver's license?
I have not. I'm going to go the passport route, figuring that's easier.
Oh, it is. It is. That's what I finally did. I did the passport route. Well, I got to get mine renewed this year, and I better get in line now.
I just put mine in the mail today.
Pat, do you have your old passport where you look like the muchacho that with those years? Did you hang on?
No, I got a new one about a year ago. So
okay.
I look like a fine citizen.
Well, then you don't have to renew yours.
No, I said. I tried to get one of those enhanced ones last year, and it was they basically tell you to go away. We can't help you.
Yeah.
Minneapolis Public Schools says the district has reached a tentative contract agreement with the Minneapolis Federation of Teachers for 2017-19, with a vote on ratification scheduled for the end of the month. The union represents the district's 3,500 teachers. Details of the agreement will be shared publicly if and when the membership ratifies the contract March 30th, the district said in a release last night. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson thanked the American people, his State Department staff, and the nation's extensive network of diplomats in his...
Hold on. Rook, it's Panama by Van Halen.
Okay.
That's what I heard in the background.
That's the only... I almost asked John to shut up for a second.
Yeah, I heard Eddie hit the ooh.
All right.
Oh, is that here?
That's one of their worst albums. Yeah. Anyway,
That's playing at your ballpark.
that's
I
you,
got
Royce.
I got the curtain closed, so I'm not paying any attention to it.
You can't hear that?
Yeah, I can hear it, but I didn't
He was
know who the
focused
hell-
on the broadcast.
I didn't know who the hell it was.
Thanks.
It's Anks.
Not Ernest Tubb, I know that.
And also thank the nation's extensive network of diplomats in his farewell statement today. One person that Mr. Tillerson did not thank, the president.
I want to read Rex's book. When's Rex going to get his book out there, man?
The only mention of the president came at the top of the statement when Tillerson mentioned that the president had called him, quote, a little after noontime from Air Force One to talk about him being fired. That call came hours after Trump told the world that he was firing Tillerson.
God, oh, man, he's a beauty.
White House sources say Tillerson was informed Friday that a change may be coming, but a State Department source said Chief of Staff John Kelly told Tillerson only that there would be a tweet involving him. Didn't say what it was about or when it would be happening. Federal investigators said they would examine photos taken in the moments before that helicopter crashed.
Why don't we just give you a wireless, Pat? You can walk around the house in your underpants doing whatever you're doing right now.
Because the machine's at the ballpark, and I can't take it back and forth, I got to have it at the ballpark.
Yeah, I think we need to set you loose, though. We need to give you a wireless and let you just wander.
I am making eggs.
I'm laying on the berm.
Yes.
We're out of milk. Bleep.
We're out of milk. Federal investigators said they'll examine pictures taken the moments before that helicopter crashed into the East River, New York. National Transportation Safety Board also said it would look at the switch and the chopper's flotation devices to figure out what caused the crash. The victims were part of an aerial photography tour, and the pilot was the only survivor. The pilot told police a tether from a passenger's safety harness wrapped around the fuel shutoff lever. It's located on the floor of the helicopter near some of the flight controls. That accidentally cut off the fuel supply.
Well,
the pilot
that's
said,
his fault. That's his fault. He shouldn't have allowed that.
making the helicopter crash.
That's their third crash in 9 years, right, Johnny? Didn't I read that?
I did not see that figure.
I believe
If, any of you seen the footage of that thing going in the drain?
Yeah.
It didn't look that like it hit that hard.
No, but then it rolled, didn't it?
And that had to have something to do
well, they
with
were all
the,
harnessed in. That's once in a while. And seatbelts kills another group of people.
I don't think that's a campaign we want to get after, though, get behind, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying, if they hadn't been tied in, they would have gotten out.
I'm not taking that tour.
You just don't
No.
get in helicopters, ever.
Oh, helicopters are safe.
Ever. Uh-huh. Right.
The Grand Canyon, I'd love to go to that Papillon.
Yeah, they only crash 2-3 times a year.
You
in
tell the
Grand
family
Canyon.
of these victims that they're safe.
Yes.
No, I'm not mocking. I'm saying I would still love to do that. I think it's still safe.
Oh, no part of it.
I love how Kenny just sounded like he was taking the high ground.
Yeah, right.
You tell.
Yeah, listen, son.
They're unsafe. You're nuts to get in one of those.
So a strap got around the thing and cut off.
That's correct.
That's
what
how
the pilot-
fragile. That's how fragile they are.
That's what the pilot's saying, yes. So he said the strap got there and accidentally the lever flipped and cut off the gas supply and they couldn't get it back on.
But I got to go with Kenny. That's his responsibility.
Oh, I agree.
To
yeah.
make sure that fuel lever is not tampered
Tweaked,
with in any way.
Compromised. Yeah.
Rock on, Joe.
Yeah.
You're trying to kiss up to Kenny, aren't
Yeah,
you?
no kidding. What the hell?
We're best friends.
I mean, the captain of the ship is the only guy who survived. That's always
Yep.
problematic situation.
It is the first time you heard that, you kind of went, huh? Yeah. Didn't you? Because I did too. Same thing.
Who's coughing up a lung in there?
That's
Sounds
Reavers.
like me, man.
No, that's Reavers.
Reavers had some bad peanuts.
And now he's taking a big swig of Monster Rehab just to help himself.
He has literally downed an entire cup of a styrofoam coffee cup of peanuts.
No, there's still half. There's still.
And
half
you know how when a piece of glass that sits on a shelf kind of shakes during an earthquake, a mild earthquake? That's what Reaver's body is doing right now after drinking that. It's just kind of constantly rumbling and shaking. Yeah,
that's the Monster Energy belly jiggler.
Keep those peanuts away from Manny, for God's sake.
That's true. We're trying
Good
to.
Point. Yeah. Older adults who are sleepy during the day might have a harmful plaque building in their brain that's a sign of impending Alzheimer's disease.
Yeah. See you later.
I ain't getting checked.
That.
I'm not getting checked. The hell with it. What good would it do? What good did all they can do is tell you that you're not going to know your relatives in about 3 years.
It's already become plainly obvious to the rest of us, Royce.
I know. It's become plainly obvious to me.
Top down.
Right. We don't need a doctor in your case.
Well, he was just talking about his halter top sitting at Hammond Stadium.
I'm trying to, you know what I know it? When I try to think of a movie that I've known my whole life and I can't remember the name of it. I mean, not like The Big Lebowski or something, but one of those secondary movies.
That's just old age. That's not Alzheimer's. I do that all the time.
Dr. Chicago. No, it's not Chicago.
From all the weed you smoked in the 60s, Royce.
A hallmark of Alzheimer's is the accumulation of a protein in the brain called beta-amyloid. It's believed that one benefit of sleep is to clear beta-amyloid, and poor sleep might allow it to build up, according to the authors of the study. When the new study, it says it's only observational. It does not prove that poor sleep causes an increase in this. The association, however, they say is so strong a link between sleep and beta-amyloid probably exists, but exactly what the link may be isn't clear.
By the way, a gal came up to me at the ballpark today and said, I met you a long time ago. And I said, was I drunk or sober? That'll give us an idea of how long ago. That'll give us an idea how long ago it was. And she said, I think you were sober. I said, okay, good. All right. Then it was since 1981.
That's a good story, Pat. Thank you.
Yes, it is.
I changed it for you, Kenneth.
In China, a man found to be illegally keeping an Asian bear as a pet told police he found the animal when it was a cub and thought it was a puppy. Police, acting on a tip from a neighbor who saw a post about the animal on social media, visited the man's home in Yongsheng County, Yunnan.
What's an Asian bear? How's that?
Boy, that requires a little work. That's not off the cuff.
The rest of the bears.
Asian black bears, Kenny, are a protected species in China.
Probably no different than any other bear.
How big they get, Johnny?
Bigger than the dog.
Why do we have to go with the Asian? Can't we just call it a bear? It's just a bear that lives in Asia.
It's a bear that lives in Asia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, diversity, John. Diversity.
Kenny's annoying today.
He really is.
Police.
I thought you guys were getting along, best friends.
Not really.
Asian black bear right here. It's also called a moon bear or a white-chested bear.
There you go, Kenny.
They look pretty big.
That'd be a panda.
No,
I'm calling that a panda. You're right.
This isn't a panda. This isn't white enough. No,
Description accepted.
Royce, you could be a tour guide at a zoo. Listen to you go on and on. You're like Snoop.
Bear.
You and Snoop should work together.
I could say this isn't a panda. It's an Asian bear.
What bears is these?
These bears animals.
No, Kenny, even better. He should do one of those rides at Disney World. You know, the safari kind.
Yeah.
This is where the white panda is located.
And they are not wrestling.
They're big and they're white and they eat stuff in the ditch.
They can get up to 440 though, Johnny. I wouldn't be feeding that one I got in the house.
This one here is 176 pounds. Police found when they got there. The man, identified, of course, only by the name Yang, told investigators.
First name Ying.
What was Rodney Dangerfield's buddy? That was Wang, right?
Wang, Mr. Wang. No offense.
Yeah.
Told investigators he had found what he thought was a puppy, foraging for mushrooms in the mountains near his home in April 2015. He only realized it wasn't a dog when it started growing. Asian black bears are considered a protected species in China, and those found to be keeping them without forest authority approval can face fines of up to $475. Yang, though, he was not fined because the bear was found to be in good health, and he cooperated with the investigation. The bear turned over to the local Wild Animal Protection Department. Forget the worm at the bottom of your bottle of mezcal. Mexican environmental inspectors have found whole boas and iguanas stuffed into bottles of mezcal at a market in the southern state of Oaxaca.
Why is there a small serpent in my tequila bottle?
The wide-mouthed bottles were filled with artisanal wild agave mezcal that was apparently meant to be drunk. The Federal Office for Environmental Protection said today it seized 15 bottles with species including a blood snake, a ridgehead snake, a yellow belly snake, and a whip snake. For decades, of course, college students have been downing the magui worm found at the bottom of some bottles of mezcal. The worms originally added for taste or to prove the drink's authenticity.
Did you eat were you supposed to eat the worm?
Yes. Yeah.
Or if you wanted to.
That'd be a tough one, yeah.
Sale of wildlife, even pickled, is strictly regulated in Mexico.
That's the least of their problems.
In Miami Beach.
A pickled snake is the least of Mexico's problems.
Well, there's certain places on the coast that are okay, although we do have that little problem down there in Playa del Carmen.
Cancun is now a murder capital.
Yeah, but
take your chance.
It's gonna. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be safe down there.
Yeah. What are the odds?
Everything's still okay in Maui, right?
Yeah,
Maui's good.
Okay, good.
They did designate 8 states today as dangerous in Mexico.
Yeah.
I don't remember all of them, but some are definitely tourist.
I thought we had her settled down there for a while, but I guess El Chapo wasn't the only problem.
In Miami Beach, the Mokai Lounge has lost its business license after a video surfaced on social media of a woman on top of a bucking horse on the dance floor.
Right on.
Miami Beach City Manager Jimmy Morales.
Oh, an actual horse?
A real horse. Yes, Kenny.
Oh. Not one of those Gillies horses. At,
mechanical
John
bulls?
Travolta, right. Yeah.
Miami Beach City Manager Jimmy Morales determined the incident was, quote, an actual threat to the public health, welfare, and safety of the city and amounted to cruelty to animals. Morales said in the statement, I was disgusted and offended that any legitimate business person would think this is an appropriate action to take. In the video, a woman can be seen trying to stay on top of a horse as a large crowd surrounds the animal. Miami Beach Mayor Dan Gelber added, animal cruelty is an abhorrent and vile act. I fully support the actions taken by the city manager. Miami Beach police say they're looking into the incident, but as of now, it's unclear why or how the horse made it into the nightclub.
I had a cousin who made his living driving around one of those mechanical bulls and putting it in these outback hinterland bars and for a weekend. And
Really?
Making a lot of money.
How was the bull to work with?
Got along. He didn't eat much. It was very cheap to feed.
We don't have a cow.
We got a long drive here. Just take it easy back there.
Authorities in Colorado are looking for a man suspected of stealing a snowcat. You know, one of the big, you know what I'm talking about.
Like a leopard or okay.
No, off-road vehicle.
Yeah, you might move snow.
Something
or whatever
like
with
in
it.
The Shining.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. This snowcat was fitted out to look like the General Lee, the car featured in the Dukes of Hazzard. Co-owner John Brandenburg says the large treaded snow vehicle was on a trailer outside a restaurant when someone hitched it up and drove it away sometime on Sunday. He immediately took to social media and received several responses from people, said they saw a pickup hauling it west of Interstate 70. Brandenburg says the thief covered the snowcat in tarps, but the decal on the side door, the big zero, of course, was still visible. KCNC in Denver reports the snowcat was tracked to a garage in the Grand Junction area. A SWAT team was deployed, but the suspect got away. They did recover, though, the snowcat that looks like the General Lee.
Good story, John.
I could hear your disgust from here, Kenny. I knew you weren't gonna accept this one.
I
thought it was an animal.
He's kind of hiding actually right now, so I can't see him. So I know he's just back there shaking his head at me. He'll like this one. Former television weatherman who legally changed his name to meteorologist Drew Anderson says he's going to run for Congress in Pennsylvania under his new name.
What's his first name?
His real name is
It's now meteorologist.
It was Drew. It's now meteorologist.
Changed from ophthalmologist.
Yes, yeah, I should change my name to Oppie.
It'd be the same if Dave Dahl said meteorologist Dave Dahl was his real name and legally changed it to that. This fella collecting signatures to get on the Republican primary ballot for a run against U.S. Representative Lloyd Smucker. Anderson says he's looking for a climate change in Washington.
Is it the number of amateur ophthalmologists in the Twin Cities?
Yeah, ophthalmologist.
Now you have no problem at all, huh?
Ophthalmologist. I choked.
5-1.
Wild have Colorado in town tonight.
Oh, it's a home game. Okay,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
they got to hit the road again because they got tournament, right? They got
They got to go to Vegas and Arizona.
Vegas keeps winning, man. Keeps winning. Unbelievable.
What do you got coming up?
Oh, I got I got Chip Scoggins. We're going to talk about all the breaking news today. Kirk Cousins and the like. Ben Gessling, who covers the Vikings for the Star Tribune, and 5:40, Brandon Lang. He will give you a selection of selections for the first round of the NCAA basketball.
Yeah, but if everybody does what he says, then nobody's going to beat anybody else.
Well, he's not going to give us all 32 games.
Oh.
He's just going to tell us about some teams that he likes.
Okay.
You know, or you just give, we can't go through the whole bracket, for goodness sakes. BrandonLang.com, by the way, if you want to follow him. We've had him on now 2 or 3 times, and first time we had him was out at Radio Row. He's great.
He knows his stuff, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah, and he's enthused and confident. I like that. He's very confident in his opinions.
1500 ESPN is KSTP, St. Paul, Minneapolis. It's 34 degrees. The ride is next.